Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name's Jeremy, and this is my At Games Legends pinball machine. I really enjoy it, but one of the things that's kind of been plaguing me pretty much since it was new is these two buttons, the start and the home button down here on the bottom, have always kind of been intermittent. Let's see if I can show you that, and we're going to take this apart, and we're going to try to clean them and see if we can make the operation a little better. Alright, let's see if we can get it to act up here. There. I'm pressing it in, I heard it click, and it's not activating. I pushed a little harder, it did go there. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. Sometimes it'll do it where I even press it hard and it won't do anything, so let's tear into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is shut off the power. And then the next step, to access behind this panel, we got to remove our top panel here. I have the optional At Games Legend control panel here, but the standard one removes the same way. What you have to do is you have to remove 3 screws for the leading panel, and then 5 screws on each of these side panels. Now for this next step, I'm going to lay a towel across the top of the glass here to see if I can flip this up. If I can't, we'll have to disconnect it. That works perfect. Let's move the camera around so you can see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, here we go. These are the 2 switches that we're having trouble with. And then looking at them, I don't think there's much I'm going to do about it. These are standard standard micro switches, surprisingly enough, which is good, which means we can change them out to something else. Let's see if I can maybe loosen one of these guys up. Gonna try, they're held in by the top clip here. There we go. Alright, that's really, really easy. Wow. These are just Chinese ripoffs of cherry switches. Let's see what I got in my parts stash. Yeah, this is like super easy. Wow. Yeah, so there's not really any pulling this guy apart very easily. So let me see what I got in my parts stash. Just a moment. Okay, this just got a whole lot easier. The switch that's used in here is a very standard switch. It's a momentary push button switch. The cherry version is a DB3, but I will include a link on something I find on, let's say, Amazon that should work equally well. The wires are connected to the common terminal and the normally open terminal. The original switch, it is labeled 1 and 3. If we look at the rest of this switch, look at the side profile here, we have just a little tab that keeps pressure down and a couple pegs. So I pulled this switch out just to make it easier to show you how to do it, but I'll show me doing it in the machine here, but it's really quite simple. Carefully you pull up on these leads here so this bends out of the way and you get it up over the hooks. This switch is so cheap it's already coming apart. So we get it over the hooks, and we just kind of wiggle it back a little bit, and then it pops right out. Works great. I will show the 2 switches side by side here. They are identical, except in quality. This cherry switch is much higher quality. But it doesn't even matter. The cherry switch has some tabs here for like a metal arm. Doesn't need it. This application doesn't require it. We hold them side by side. The buttons are in the same position. So, here's what it looks like without the switch in there. So to install it, we just put it in like this and lock it in. Because the holes were slightly different sized in here, we just got to push it down a little bit. It was no trouble whatsoever, but sneak it in here. It's a little tougher. Careful not to break that top tab. We'll just get it to sit over those pins and then we'll press it down. Perfect. We can hear it clicking here. I'll bring it up by the microphone. So that should work really good. The reason I have the pliers out here is to pull the wires off of the terminals. You have to be careful not to yank the terminal out of the connector. It's got a push-on connector. So what I did on mine is I pulled it out, and then I was able to get the pliers under there and catch the side of the connector and bring it out the rest of the way. Also might be a good time to tighten these up because these things tend to get loose. But let's move this panel out and I will swap the other one out. The connector terminal is a little loose on here, so I'm going to just crimp it down really just a tiny amount so it grabs it a little better. Got to be really careful not to go too far on this. You can also solder the wire onto the terminal if you wanted. That's pretty good. This one's a little looser than what I like. Let's tighten it up just a little bit. That's nice and snug. It doesn't matter if the wires go on, as long as they're on the normally open terminals, you'll be fine. They can go either way. I'm going to be sure to tighten up this switch here. Here's my original switch. Original button, I should say. Yeah, that's just a little loose. I like squeezing these kind of on the diagonal. Just a little bit. Much better. Okay, good. I see I got my switch upside down here. That's okay. And now the terminal is on the wrong one. So it's a good thing I figured that out. Otherwise I would have problems with my machine. So we'll remove this terminal over here, put it over here. Okay, we are good. I'm going to button it up and we'll try it out. Okay, let's give it a quick test. Is it working better? Since these switches have a lighter spring pressure, it's a little harder to hear the click on it. You may not be able to hear it at all. Yeah, that works really good. Let's go and do a switch test here. And I should have done this before. But let's see here. Let's get my focus set. And to go into switch test, we got to go up to the top bar, settings. And we've got, let's move the camera one more time so you can see what I'm doing. We should have diagnostics here. Health check. Let's see here. Built-in button test. Alright, so we can... There's the start button there. And the home button over there. I wish I would have done this before with the other switches, but I'm not going to tear it apart because this is working really good. Let's try the rewind button here. Yeah, that seems to work just fine. Sometimes that gives me a little trouble too, but not too much. Alright, let's get out of this here. How do you back out of it? Press both home plus nudge front buttons to quit. Home's the center one, nudge front. There we go. And rewind is quit. And we'll get up here and over to here, and we'll get to my favorite table, which is TX sector here. There it is. Oh, that works so much better. So much better. Alright, as you saw, that was a pretty easy repair, and I was super surprised. I thought we'd find some cheapo, obviously the switch itself was very cheap, but a cheapo made button with some kind of custom switch in it that we'd pop apart and clean the contacts and put it back together, and it all worked great. But I did not expect to find one of these guys, the little, basically I call them cherry switches, but they go by many names. It's a momentary push button switch. Like I said, I'll have something in the description, and maybe I'll toss something up here. We'll see if I end up doing that, and if I find something easy like Amazon or something. But easy switch to change out, and it's going to make me a lot happier because I'm not going to get frustrated, because when I jam on that button lightly or heavy or whatnot, it's going to work. Thank you very much for watching. Please check out my other videos. I've got some other videos that have been pretty popular on the Legends Pinball. I hope you like them. So, thanks for watching.